In the elder days of the realm, when the mists of legend still clung to the hills and valleys of Britain, there was a tale told of a knight, noble and true, whose name was etched in the annals of time. This is the story of Sir Gawain, a knight of the Round Table, under the sovereign rule of King Arthur, whose court at Camelot was the heart from which chivalry pulsed through the land. Chapter 1. The Summoning of the Knight. In the golden glow of the great hall, where the air was thick with the scent of mead and the warmth of hearth fires, the knights of the Round Table gathered. Their shadows danced upon the stone walls, cast by the flickering flames, as they spoke of deeds both great and small. It was here, amidst the clinking of goblets and the low murmur of voices, that the tale of Sir Gawain began to unfold. The day had waned, and the stars had claimed the sky when a hush fell upon the court. King Arthur, with a countenance both grave and fair, rose from his throne. His voice, deep and resonant, cut through the silence like a clarion call. "Let it be known," he began, his eyes sweeping over his assembly of knights, "that a challenge has been set forth, one that calls for a champion of pure heart and valorous spirit." The knights leaned forward, their hands resting upon the pommels of their swords, their eyes alight with the fire of anticipation. Sir Gawain, whose seat was among his brethren, felt a stirring in his breast. He was of Arthur's blood, nephew to the king, and within him burned the desire to prove his worth, to honor his lineage, and to uphold the virtues of the Round Table. King Arthur continued, "A darkness encroaches upon our lands from the north, a test of our resolve. A knight, cloaked in green, has issued a challenge that cannot be ignored. He seeks a champion to strike a blow against him, with a promise to return the same in 1 year's time." A murmur rippled through the hall. The Green Knight, a figure of myth, an enigma wrapped in the whispers of sorcery and the unknown. Who among them would dare to face such an adversary? It was then that Sir Gawain rose, his armor gleaming in the firelight, his voice steady and sure. "My king, my uncle," he said, bowing his head in reverence, "I would take up this challenge. I would face the Green Knight in the name of Camelot and all that we hold dear." King Arthur regarded him with pride and sorrow, for the love he bore his nephew was great, and the peril of the quest was not unknown to him. Yet he saw in Gawain the makings of a legend, the heart of a lion, and the soul of a knight that would one day be sung by bards and remembered by history. "Then go forth, Sir Gawain," King Arthur decreed, "with the blessings of this court and the strength of your convictions. Face the Green Knight and let your courage be a beacon to us all." And so, with the dawn, Sir Gawain set forth upon his steed, Gringalet, his green cloak billowing behind him like the banner of spring. The summoning of the knight had begun, and with it a story that would echo through the ages, a testament to the valor and the virtue of the knights of the Round Table. Chapter 2. The Beheading Game. As the first light of dawn crept over the horizon, painting the world in hues of rose and gold, Sir Gawain rode through the mist that lay heavy upon the land. The hooves of Gringalet, his noble steed, struck the earth with a rhythm that matched the pounding of Gawain's heart. The path before him was shrouded in uncertainty, but his resolve was as steadfast as the ancient oaks that lined his way. The journey was long and fraught with trials, for the world was a place of both beauty and peril. Through forests deep and valleys wide, Sir Gawain encountered creatures of old, remnants of a time when magic was as common as the air that filled one's lungs. He aided those in need, upheld the chivalric code, and kept the image of the Green Knight ever in his mind. At last he came upon a castle, grand and foreboding, nestled within an emerald glade that seemed untouched by time. The lord of this keep, a man of noble bearing and generous heart, welcomed Sir Gawain with open arms. "Rest here," he offered, "for the road has been unkind, and the challenge you seek lies yet a day's ride hence." Grateful for the respite, Gawain accepted the hospitality, unaware that within these walls the beheading game would find its beginning. For the lord of the castle had a proposal, a test of sorts, to fill the hours before the Green Knight's challenge. "Let us make a pact," the Lord suggested, his eyes gleaming with a curious light. "Whatever fortune I gain during the day shall be yours upon my return, and whatever you gain within these walls shall be mine to claim." Intrigued and seeing no deceit in the Lord's manner, Gawain agreed, sealing their accord with a handshake, firm and true. The following morn, as the Lord rode out to hunt, Sir Gawain remained, and it was not long before the lady of the castle, fair and enchanting, sought his company. She offered him a gift, a single kiss, which Gawain accepted, for to refuse would be churlish, yet he knew it must be repaid. When the Lord returned, laden with the bounty of the hunt, he presented Gawain with the fruits of his labor. In turn, Gawain bestowed upon the Lord a kiss, claiming it was all he had gained that day. The Lord laughed heartily, pleased by the exchange, and they feasted well into the night. This game continued for 3 days, each more challenging than the last, with the lady's gifts growing bolder and Gawain's honor tested to its limits. Yet he remained true to his word, repaying the Lord each evening with the kisses he had received, withholding only a single, magical girdle given by the lady on the final day, a secret he kept close, for it was said to protect the wearer from harm. On the dawn of the new year, Sir Gawain donned the girdle beneath his armor, a silent concession to the mortal danger he faced. He bid farewell to the lord and lady, their game at an end, and rode forth to meet his fate. The Green Chapel, where the Green Knight awaited, was a place of eerie stillness, a hollow in the earth where shadows seemed to whisper. As Gawain approached, the Green Knight emerged, a towering figure of verdant might, his eyes alight with a challenge that had spanned the seasons. "Sir Gawain," the Green Knight boomed, his voice echoing against the stone, "you have come to fulfill our pact. Strike your blow, as you have sworn to do." With courage in his heart and the weight of his honor upon his shoulders, Gawain raised his sword and struck. The blade sang through the air, a silver arc of resolve and might, and the head of the Green Knight tumbled to the ground. But this was no mortal foe. The Green Knight stooped, retrieved his severed head, and fixed Gawain with a gaze that pierced the soul. "1 year hence," he reminded, his decapitated head speaking the words of the pact, "I shall return the blow." The world seemed to hold its breath as Gawain stood, the test of his courage only just begun. For the beheading game was far from over, and the true challenge lay in the honor and the heart of Sir Gawain, Knight of the Round Table. Chapter 3: The Trials of the Road. In the wake of the Green Knight's departure, the world seemed to exhale, the tension of the beheading game dissipating like mist under the morning sun. Yet for Sir Gawain, the trial had only just begun. With the Green Knight's promise echoing in his ears, he turned Gringolet towards Camelot, the weight of the year's respite heavy upon his soul. The road back was long and treacherous, a test of endurance and spirit. The land itself seemed to sense the gravity of Gawain's quest, and as if in challenge, it threw before him obstacles both fierce and cunning. The winter's chill bit deep, and the forests whispered secrets that turned brave men's hearts to ice. Gawain, however, was not a man to be easily daunted. His resolve was as the steel of his blade, and his honor the fire that kept the cold at bay. He faced each trial with the courage that had earned him his place at the Round Table, and with each passing day, the legend of his journey grew. Monsters rose from the depths of shadowed woods, serpents with eyes like coals and breath of poison. Bandits and brigands, drawn to the lone knight like moths to a flame, found in him an adversary whose mettle was matched only by his skill at arms. Yet it was not by sword alone that Gawain overcame these trials, but by his wit and the purity of his heart. In a village stricken by famine, where the people's cries rose to the heavens in despair, Gawain shared his provisions, though meager they were. He toiled alongside them, his royal blood no barrier to the work of hands and back, and in doing so, he sowed the seeds of hope in soil long barren. At a river swollen by the season's rains, where the crossing was fraught with peril, Gawain met an old crone, her back bent like a bow. She spoke of a path hidden to the eyes of the proud, a way through the waters that would bear him safe to the other side. In exchange for this knowledge, she asked but a simple boon, a vow to remember that strength lies not in arms alone, but in the bonds of kinship and the kindness one bestows upon the least of these. Gawain, ever true, gave his word and kept it, carrying with him the lesson of the river as he continued on his path. As the months waned and the day of reckoning drew nigh, the weight of the girdle against his chest was a constant reminder of the choice he had made. It was a talisman of survival, but also a symbol of his hidden shame. For in accepting the lady's gift, he had faltered in his honesty, a blemish upon his honor that no one but he knew. The landscape changed, from the verdant greens of spring to the golden hues of summer, and then to the fiery tapestry of autumn. Each season brought its own trials, and through them all, Gawain rode, his purpose unwavering, his spirit unbroken. As the final leaves fell from the trees and the first frost kissed the ground, Camelot's spires rose upon the horizon, a beacon of hope and the end of his journey, for now. The trials of the road had honed him, not just as a knight, but as a man. And though the Green Knight's challenge loomed large, it was the trial of his own conscience that would prove the greatest test of all. For in the heart of Sir Gawain, the Knight of the Round Table, the true battle raged, a battle not of swords or strength, but of integrity and the unyielding quest for redemption. Beneath a sky heavy with the promise of snow, Sir Gawain, noblest of Arthur's knights, approached the green chapel. The air was thick with the scent of earth and pine, and the silence of the glade was a solemn herald to the destiny that awaited him. There, amidst the ancient stones, the Green Knight stood, as immovable as the forest itself, his eyes reflecting the depth of the world's secrets. "Sir Gawain," the Green Knight intoned, his voice a deep echo from the roots of the earth, "the year has waned, and so we meet again, as honor dictates." Gawain, clad in the armor of his resolve, stepped forward, the magical girdle concealed beneath his mail a silent testament to his mortal fears. Yet, as he faced the Green Knight, a wellspring of courage rose within him, for he knew that true honor lay not in the avoidance of death, but in the integrity of one's actions. With a heart both heavy and clear, Gawain bared his neck, ready to receive the return blow, to fulfill the pact he had sworn. The Green Knight raised his mighty axe, the air singing with its descent. But lo, the blade halted, a hair's breadth from Gawain's skin, a test of the knight's bravery, not his end. The Green Knight's laughter, rich and booming, filled the glade. "Well met, Sir Gawain, for you have proven your worth, not in the perfection of your deeds, but in the strength of your character, in the willingness to face the consequences of your actions." And so, the Green Knight revealed himself as the lord of the castle, his challenge a lesson in humility and honor. Gawain, humbled and wiser, accepted the truth of his imperfection, and with it, the boundless grace of forgiveness. As he returned to Camelot, the tale of Sir Gawain and the Green Knight became a beacon of chivalric virtue, a story to inspire the hearts of those who seek the path of righteousness. For in the depths of our trials, we find the measure of our valor, and in the acceptance of our flaws, the truest nobility of the human spirit.